Alright, let's make sure everything's working here. Looks like it is. Booyah. Okay. So today we are working a little more on trying to get some of this resource stuff working out. There's a couple of things that sort of need to go on here. We need to make some decisions, honestly, about how we want to set things up, and what is going to maybe be the best path towards allocating resources and moving those resources around the base. Because I just don't. Yawn. I just don't really know. So the bigger our modules are, right, the bigger our structures get, the more we have to concern ourselves with finding space to put those structures. Any resources that exist within our base area here sort of by default get in the way. And so we don't want that. No, I don't think that anything else really gets in the way. I think it's just resources, mostly. I suppose there are some things like these that probably have to get destroyed. And I guess that's what I could do. I could just build the structures, and then if there's anything in the way, we just fucking blow it up and build there. Because it doesn't take much. Let's see. We got our scout here. Let's blow up this close piece here. Yeah, so that doesn't take really much at all to destroy. Even a really big piece like that. Something else we're going to have to work on is we have to remove resources from our array. So let's check something. My worker with my array is right here. So right now, when I get a request for a resource, I check that specific piece of the array, and then I look to see based on distance. But something else I feel like I want to check is if that piece of the array exists at all still, right? So if I've mined it out, I can't still be sending somebody to that location because there's no more resources there. So let's see if we can get resource number. Let's just type in resource. Get resource number. Okay, here we go. The result comes out. We put that here. And then we want to do a quick compare. So let's compare numbers. So if this value we get here will be compared to 0, right? Okay, so that value is compared to 0. If that value is larger than 0, then we can mine that resource. If it is smaller than or equal to 0, we need to remove it from the array. What in the holy shit? So how do we just get its index? That should be a part of this value, right? So I wonder if I just throw that on there. Is that good enough? So if there's no resource there, you know what? Getting resource number probably won't work because the resource won't exist. So getting the number, I mean, I guess maybe it will send back a null value because um, because there's nothing there. So it might just throw back a null. That's interesting. So something we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to write a test case for this because we don't want to test it with this whole thing because it gets really complicated to try and run all of this. So we just want to write ourselves like a small test case. So let's see. How should we test this? And then as soon as we figure it out, we can start implementing. We also need to start considering places we might be able to break things off into methods. And this is something that I don't think I see a lot of people do. So far, in my experience with a lot of the behaviors and stuff that get shared as part of the community, um, a lot of them are very like custom built on almost a per unit basis. Like you find something that you really specifically need done, and then you just program something to do exactly that. And there's not necessarily a ton of Wow. My brain just like totally went away there. Holy shit. I forgot that I was streaming. That's that's what just happened. I just straight up forgot. Holy crap. Um, let's see. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to find something that we can add into an array. And then we need to see what happens when that resource is no longer there. What are you running? Oh, you're running the example script for. I actually want to keep this. The memory script is really interesting. And this little example, this is the example that comes baked in. And then I went ahead and added some removal behaviors and then looped through some other stuff so I could see exactly how the removals and stuff worked. But we're going to take this off and change it into something else. Hold up. You can have icons? Yo. Holy shit. You don't just change the name. You can change the icon associated with the fucking thing. That's awesome. Oh my goodness. I'm in love. That's really cool. Yeah. So let's see. This doesn't need to have whatever this is. So let's remove that behavior. And then let's see. Let's go out a little ways. Well, I guess runners kind of have to stay on the resource or on the network, because if they're not on the network, they don't have like any sort of power that they can hold. So we might just have to do, well, I guess we can do a small, right? We don't have to do a big one. We could do this one right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to set integrated behavior, new behavior, array, remove, test. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a parameter. And then we're going to create a parameter event, right? And when this parameter changes, we are going to insert into a memory index. We'll use this one, the value from the array. That should be pretty easy. And then on the program, well, we'll do something else. So right now we just want to set up an array. So let's do that. And then let's do this. And then let's link visual. Actually, can we just set that? We can. Now let's check our array. Okay, that didn't work. Can we like link that? Why is that fucked up? Actually, let's link this one. And then let's go to that right there. And then let's check our array. This is strange. Why isn't this parameter event triggering? Perm. Where's the kaboom? There's supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom. I think I've lost my damn mind. I think that's what happened. Should I index it differently? I know this index works. What if we save it like that? And then we move here. And then we move here. Then we move here. Then we fucking check. Nope. Okay. So manually changing these parameters doesn't work? Maybe. Maybe. How do I add to the array? I know. Let's do it this way. Because this array can stay. Actually, that's probably what the problem is. Yeah, clear memory arrays. Nope. Keep memory arrays. There we go. That was my problem. That was my problem. Bop. We're going to put it on an index. Boom. And our value is boom. Okay. So now we're going to go to, we're going to hit 1. We're going to hit 2. We're going to hit 3. And then we're going to go in here. We're going to check. Oh, nope. Still didn't work. What the fudge knockers? Okay. Well, here's instead what we're going to do. Let's see. Loop units in range. Range is going to be 10. Filter is going to be metal. And then for each thing, we want to steal a bunch of our code from our little worker dude here. So we take it in. Right, we take in the value. And then we get the unit type. Okay. So we go back over here and we check this. So we're looping units, and then we get the type of the unit. And the type comes out, and we put the ID on it. And this is just going to build this. So once it's built, we're actually going to go ahead and just go to exit. So this is really cool. I could just kill this once it's done building its little array. But the reason this is so cool is I can exit this, and as long as I don't completely change the behavior I'm using, I can delete all of this code and then basically build a new code in here to hold this array, which is kind of dope. And I like it a lot. So let's see, this should build our array based on the immediate area. So let's go ahead and hit the play button here. Let's check it out and let's see. Yep, we're building a nice array. We're getting all the metal in the area. You know what I'm just realizing? How am I doing this comparison? What the heck? Now my array's gone. Well, that's not what I wanted. We gotta run it again. Oh, we're comparing whatever value we're on the loop. Got it. Got it. So as the array gets longer, we have to compare more items because we're just looping this little section over and over, and we're comparing it to each new. Got it. So I did know what I was doing when I made this. And then every now and then it just comes down here and inserts it because it hasn't finished this full loop yet. And then once it does, it should exit. So the code is off now. And now I can just change anything I want. Which is awesome. So now we have that code. So now we're going to want to loop our memory. So let's see, we have 18 things right now. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take out loop in range. Right, we're going to delete these. We're going to loop the memory. And for each memory, we want to get our resource number to see if this is going to work. And then the resource is going to be the value. The result is going to be right here. And then if the result is, so we're comparing number, if the result is equal to or smaller than 0, we're going to take it away. So mem remove. We're going to do that with the resource that we're already looking at. So that index. And that's if equal or that. And if larger, we're just going to go back. Is equipped, is inside, is moving, is same grid, is a unit. So I guess this is the other thing, is we could check. Nope. Is passable. Is compares if an item of unit, if an item of unit is of a specific type. Oh, checks if it's empty. Okay, well, we're going to try a couple of things. So if it's smaller or equal, we're going to go there. And then when we're done, hey, what's up, Slate? Then when we're all done with this, we're just going to exit here. And so we have 18 things. We're going to save all that. We're going to destroy one of these resources. So we should end up with 17. Because we just blew that up. So now we're going to go in here. We're going to play this. Holy crap. Well, that went really quickly. I now have a blank, and I've removed something from the register. Okay. So this is not picking up the proper index. Because it's just removing one every time. And I've still got this empty space. So I assume when I destroyed it, this became a null. So let's see if I can make another one. So let's blow up this resource and see if there are now 2 empty spaces. Because that'll be interesting. If the array is sort of like updating, it is. Okay. So it's holding those values, but it's also updating those values. So it knows when this has been destroyed and no longer exists. So in order to remove it, I probably need to check if it's a type. Let's go back to is. Oh, right. Checks a value if it is empty. That's a good one. So let's do that. Right? If it's empty, we remove it. So mem remove. We remove this value. So let's save that. Let's go back in there and let's try that. Okay, well now it's not removing anything. So these are not counting as empty values. So that's not the answer. Compares. So let's see if this is the same type as the memory type, right? And then if they're equal, we keep going. And if they're different, then we remove. We may have to get type from, so we've got, oh, we're getting resource numbers right now. Whoops. What are we doing? Well, getting the resource number doesn't really matter because we're not using it. But we may need to just pull the type from this value. But we'll see. We can always remove index there. And then if equal, it loops. And then when it's done, it exits. So we save that. We hit that. Okay, it's removing something. So it's picking up that something is wrong. I guess actually that number thing was also working there. So it's not indexing properly. How do I get the index for that specific number? Because the index, whoops. Oh, that's cool. Because the index is just this ID plus whatever number. So I guess I could do some math, and then I could add the ID plus whatever the math is, and just remove that. So we can just like make a variable. What comes on the separate register? Okay. So it looks like we're going to have to do that math. So we're going to need like some add. So we're always going to want to add 1 to a variable. And then get out the result. And then the ID that you remove will always be this plus whatever this number value is. So how do we create a variable to add this to? Can we set a variable? We can set a number. Okay. If I create this variable, can I then use it here? I can. Okay, but if we're creating and setting, this doesn't really work. I suppose we could use the parameter because that parameter just sort of exists. So let's try that. Let's do a little math here. So we are going to take the parameter and we are going to add 1 to it. And then the result is going to be this variable. And then we need a copy because we need to put that new result back up into the parameter. So we're going to copy this value into the parameter. And then we should be good. And then when I need to remove something, we should be able to set number. We should be able to take in the ID here. We should be able to set whatever this number is, make it to a new variable, and that should be my index to remove. That should work. So we've got 2 zeros that are null. We're checking if they're an item, and then we're removing them. So this should work. But it did not. We didn't remove anything at all. What is this even doing? I don't even think I need this. We can just close that out. All right, let's also get the type here. Get the unit type of this right here. This type goes out right here. And instead of B, we're checking A against J. I don't even know that we're actually looping here. Okay, well, we need to figure out how to identify exactly what part of the array we want to clean up. And I just don't know exactly how to do that. We might be able to just use compare register and compare it straight up to a null state. That actually might be good enough. Because that's what it is, right? It's just a straight up null. So if we just compare the register, we take this out and we compare the value we're putting in to nothing. If they're the same, we remove it. If they're different, we keep looping. That actually seems like it should work really well. Because that's what these are, right? They're totally null registers. And then we've got our value here that should create our index that we need to remove. So let's see. Does not appear to be working. I think it's something about the index that we're using. No. Now we're just hitting the different. We're never going down here. So it's not a null value. It's something else. Because we're never coming down this way to try and remove anything. Checks if is empty. Let's try that. Is empty. This honestly probably should have been the first one we tried. Is empty, we delete. Cool. We didn't hit anything there. Okay. So that's not working either. Oh, we're also not adding. Hang on. Why aren't we adding? Oh, why do I have an add here? How did that get added? Okay, well that doesn't need to exist. Not sure what happened there. Let's save it. Let's try it again. Still not working. This is pretty frustrating. How do I clean up my array? How, oh, how? We could maybe use is passable. Is empty, is research. Distant. Let's see. Let's get rid of that. Let's put is passable back in here. So this is a coordinate value here. If it is passable, then we delete it. If it's, sorry, if it is passable, we delete it because it shouldn't be, because it's a resource. Still doesn't seem to be working. All right. I really don't know what's up with this one. What I think I do know is I don't know that I'm in the mood to struggle today. Don't know if I'm in the mood to struggle today. Yeah, I don't really think I am. I think we're just going to call it. I hope everybody has a good day. I will see you all on the next one, which should be tomorrow.